got a template sitting in a folder. 3 weeks done, 2 weeks older. What if they don't like it? What if it's not enough? Told myself I needed more time. Told myself I'd polish up the rough. Had a YouTube video finished, sat on it for 9 whole days. Maybe I should edit it again. Maybe someone's done this better anyway. And this podcast you're listening to right now, I almost didn't. 3 times I talked myself out loud, and 3 times I almost quit. Perfectionism's got a pretty face, but underneath it's just fear in a tailored space, telling you to wait one more day, one more fix, one more reason to stay safe. I almost didn't post it, I almost didn't show, I almost let the voice inside tell me not to go. But I did it scared, I did it rough, I did it on a Tuesday when I didn't feel enough. And that one step, build the next step, build the next step, build this. Thank God I almost didn't, and did it anyway. Flight medicans that learned in the air. No room for perfect lives in your care. You showed up shaking, you showed up green. You became the best by doing the thing. Now you're behind a mic in the ring like glow. Somehow that feels harder than the things you know. But the women watching from the sideline quiet need to see you messy, need to see you try it. Not your highlight reel, not your polished take. They need the version of you that shows up half awake. You know what? Waiting cars, the Etsy shop that never opened, the episode that never dropped, the client you would have changed, who never found you because you stopped. I almost didn't post it, I almost didn't show, I almost let the voice inside tell me not to go. But I did it scared, I did it rough, I did it on a Tuesday when I didn't feel enough. And that one step, built the next step, built the next step, built this. Thank God I almost didn't, and did it anyway. How many times have you rebuilt? How many times did starting over feel like failure when it was actually the floor becoming solid? Every rebuild was a rep, every almost was a test. And the women you admire in your industry right now, they started before they felt ready. They weren't great at first, they just showed up, put in the reps, and got better by doing. You don't need to be great to start, you need to start to be great. I almost didn't post it, I almost didn't show, I almost let the voice inside tell me not to go. But I did it scared, I did it rough, I did it when the lighting was bad, and my voice wasn't enough. Now one step, built the next step, built the next step, built everything I almost didn't, and I'm so glad I did. I almost didn't, I'm so glad I did. Post the thing, upload the video, publish the blog, launch the offer. Even if it's scary, especially if it's scary. Because one day you'll look back at what you created and realize that wasn't perfect, but it got me here, and here is everything. Hook, highlight, I did it scared, I did it rough, I did it on a Tuesday.
Hello, hello, hello. Just sending out my live. I've been not great about actually letting people know that I go live, and then nobody shows up. So I'm trying to do my due diligence. I'm trying to actually let people know in case you guys want to join. So if this is your first time, what are we doing today? I am building in public. I have 2 service-based businesses. One is a water sports business. I teach stand-up paddleboarding to women. And then the other one is sorry, I'm silently my phone, yoga. So primarily pre and postnatal yoga to women over the age of 35. And then I have a trauma-informed side of it where I actually use that for teaching active duty military personnel. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Anna Connie Welchers. I am the founder and owner of EmpowerHER Wave. So the channel that you're watching is that. But the backstory is that Fat Mermaids, my water sport and business, and my yoga magic both birthed Empower Her Wave. People started to wonder how I was teaching stand up paddleboarding, teaching baby and me yoga, teaching toddler and me yoga, teaching active duty Marines, being a mom to as a first time mom to a toddler, and volunteering at the library, volunteering for my husband's unit for spouse activities without losing my mind while I was overseas with no family support because, well, it was Japan and it was really hard for my family. Plus, we were in COVID for most of the time we were there. Reminder to drink your water. I'm going to be talking really fast because I'm here, messy bun. I decided to really build this in public, like the way I would normally do it with like no holdbacks, simply because I'm a mom of a 4-year-old. He's in preschool Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for only 3 hours, which means I have 9 hours to manage all my businesses. Right now, I've only been focusing on Empower Her Wave, but it feels like there's this empty space because I'm no longer focusing or doing anything with what used to fill my cup, which is stand up paddleboarding. I love me some board meetings and being on the water, hence where the wave came from. Because again, these two other businesses literally birthed Empower Her Wave. Everything that you see is an infusion of those two brands. And then my yoga business. I've been neglecting my own practice. I used to get this push to do more yoga for myself when I was teaching other people to do yoga because I always wanted to practice what I was preaching. And I used to always, well, do the yoga poses with the people I was teaching, especially the active duty Marines, because it was harder for them to conceptualize sometimes what I was telling them. And I used to go first because teaching male military people is very different from teaching postpartum women. And so, um, anyways, we are building them up. Now, I moved from Japan after 7 years being overseas to back to the United States. Okay. I started both of my service based businesses while overseas, very different environments. I wasn't really allowed to work outside, well, work while I was there, period, unless it was a government job because of the status that I was in as a military spouse supporting my active duty. I was a dependent to an active duty military member overseas. And Japan is one of those really strict ones that you're not allowed to work without a visa. And I couldn't get a visa because of the type of status that I was holding to be there as a military dependent. So I had worked around it. Took me a really long time to figure it out, but I got basically approval to teach off base. Um, and then eventually I got government contracts to teach through the government. Like they basically did the marketing, they booked it. All I did was basically show up. It was the best thing ever. Now coming back, I'm in a different phase than I was. I have a toddler. I'm in a place that actually speaks English. My market might not be the same. Everything pretty much went to the side while I was trying to focus on bringing my family. From October till basically the week before Christmas, we were living out of a suitcase. And it was this adjustment for all of us. We haven't been really back in the States for 7 years. My son, who was born in Japan, knew nothing of like real American culture. And it was a hard adjustment for him to get used to just American customs, culture, everything. Um, so I'm going to show you my screen. I'm not holding back. This is really like the real numbers so that you can see. You're going to see the post that I'm going to be doing. Everything that I'm going to be showing you in this live is going to be from the frameworks that I teach inside the Alchemized Content Method. All right. So this is the Instagram profile for Fat Mermaids. And as you can see, I had about 487 followers. A lot of these were people that actually took stand-up paddleboard lessons with me. Apparently, I'm not following myself. I should. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to follow Keisha because she's one of my actual stand-up paddleboard students. She got certified as a stand-up paddleboard instructor. So as you can see, this one won't show you because I'm looking at it as you guys would be. Oh, that's what I should have looked it at. My bad. I might have to do it a different way, but I'm going to pull it up on my cell phone while you guys are looking at the desktop version because I realized I'm not logged in under Fat Mermaid. So up to date, I've only had 82 views in the last 30 days on this account. So let me see if I can do it this way. Let me see. My phone has been giving me problems. So let's see if this works. Pull up. There we go. So this is my Fat Mermaids account on my phone, just so that you guys can see it, so that you can see like the real numbers. 488 followers. I'm following 773. I've posted about 1,000 times, and I've only had 82 views in the last 30 days because I haven't been posting. I haven't done anything. Look, funny enough, I've had some new followers, which is pretty funny, but like, let's just do it for the last, I don't know if I can do it for longer. Let's see. Can I do it from March? March 14th is the earliest to today, the 11th. Update. So over the last 90 days, only 464 views. So not a lot. Like you can see, I was very intentional with this account. But if, it got really better once I started to invest in coaching and I understood what I was doing from a marketing perspective, really bringing it back to the core vision of what I had for Fat Mermaids. Now, Fat Mermaids is a stand up paddleboard in person business. And I theoretically, not theoretically, the intent was that I wanted to use it as a way to support women over the age of 35 who were suffering from low self esteem and low body positivity. Because when I first found sup yoga, that was my Achilles tendons. I had both probably depression from low body positivity and low self-esteem. Like I was not in the best place. I was dealing with a lot of health problems with my heart, and I was working out rigorously, and it was like almost going backwards. I was gaining more weight, but it was because I was stressing myself out. I didn't know at the time. Okay, and we're talking like 2000, let's see, I want to say 2016, 2017, I got certified as a stand-up paddleboard instructor. Okay, so we're in 2026. So this is a long time. But you can see I figured out my branding. I figured out really how to create the content to support the buying beliefs that I wanted to instill for my ICP. Okay, and if you're new to like business and stuff, now you'll see a lot of the paddleboarding. Um, I don't know if it'll. Let's see. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I don't think it does. Phew. Anyways, um, you'll see that a lot of these um are basically videos that I did for my. Bring this down. Um, I'm gonna mute it so y'all don't hear that. Anyways, they were essentially GoPro videos of my actual students going through their lessons so people could see the transformation, so that they could see that I'm teaching regular women that look just like them, who are out there being badasses and not giving a fuck. Now, I have a very specific persona when I teach stand up paddleboarding. It has to be very bold, very opposite to what most people, and so this is a couple, it's her and her husband. Um, and he was like so inspired. Like he was been dealing with some health problems, but he was like, how do I become a sup instructor? Which I was like, hell yeah. And that was the real thing. It was really this empowerment that I feel. This is like the Sasha Fierce, if I was Beyonce, of my businesses. My persona, when I am loud, I don't care. You can see here, like that this is AI, but I 1000% wear. Look at this. This is my outfit that I wear when I'm out there. I want to be audacious. I want to be bold because they need to see that. Most of them are very shy. They're very quiet. And I'm like, no, not today, boo. Today we are going to be badasses on the water. And it really is taking the clips that I do of them during their lessons so that they can see the transformation, because it 1000% changes their perception of themselves when they see themselves through someone else's lens. And I tell them, they're like, yeah, you probably say that to everybody. I was like, no, like you were a badass. Like you were so awesome. High five to you. Wait till you see your video. And then I tell them, like, I'm not editing this. This isn't Photoshop. This isn't AI. That is you out on the water, killing it. Give yourself that, whatever you wanted it is. Okay. So I just need to get back into doing it. I have thousands and thousands of videos and images because not only is this my job, but it is my happy place. So it should not be hard. It's just that I need to get back into it. Now, a couple things as to why I might have been like, I don't want to do it, is because I'm back in the United States. When I was teaching overseas, I didn't need permits. I didn't need all these other extra things that I now need being in the United States. Now, for those of you who don't know, I relocated to Hawaii, which is where I actually got certified. So I'm back home, basically. And things are different in the US. I have to go to parks and recs. I am on living on base this time, never been on lived on base ever. And so how do I need to figure out, how do I teach? Can I teach on base? Can I get recontracted through government? Luckily, I'm on the Marine Corps base, who happens to have a marina, but I know that there's Pearl Harbor. I know that there's Bellows Air Force Base. So we are going to walk through how I'm going to rebuild. Now, I have not been posting, and if you saw my stories on Empower Her Wave, why? Because I've done this already. I've been entrepreneuring for 7 years after I switched from nursing when we made the move to Japan. And that was really some of the hardest, like, first 5 years of my life entrepreneuring. I almost wanted to give up many of times. Two things that I really learned, though, is that networking, knowing the right people, were like the biggest pushes. Everything else was kind of like counter, but also having the branding, the messaging, knowing who I was talking to, and all of that other stuff really played a part, because once I had all of those pieces in place, I didn't really have to think so hard about how I was marketing. Everything came very natural. And I had a brilliant system. I would teach, they would give me permission when they signed the contract as their liability for my liability insurance, that they were allowing me to use their images for marketing. I would tell them about that. I would create an album in my Facebook page specifically for their sup lessons so that they could download all their images. I would not give them any of the videos because some of the videos would actually be me teaching out loud, and those were for me, unless I decided I'm going to send this to you privately. Okay. And I would use those clips to create reels so that they could share with their family. And what did that do? Free marketing. So if you're in a water sports instructor, canoeing, surfing, scuba diving, snorkeling, um, I met some cool people out there that teach you how to be a real mermaid. Like, they had mermaid days where they literally were those people that bought like real mermaid tails, and they would go out to the marina and swim around together. And I was like, oh dude, I need to join you guys. But I was like, I'm pregnant and I cannot. Um, until my baby knows how to swim, basically. And by that time, I was like, we got to go. I'm so busy. I can't, which is part of the problem. Okay. When you take on too much, making sure that you find the time for yourself. Otherwise, you're going to burn out. And who am I, the queen of burnout? How many times have I burnt out? But the cool thing about it is that I recognize my symptoms, I recognize my triggers, and I don't let myself get too far to the right, which is where I started when I burnt out in nursing and had two heart conditions, which I no longer have, and I'm hoping that I can stay like that. So we kind of have an understanding of what Fat Mermaid is. This, I almost broke both my hands, y'all. It was a brutal, brutal injury. I thought I did not really, there was a point in the recovery where I was not sure I was ever going to be able to teach stand up paddleboarding anymore. Like, I could not, I had no grip. I could not, like, close my hand at all. Um, and I did that at a playground on a rainy day, going down this Japanese slide. Was not fun. So, anyways, there's that. Okay. Now we have, oh, I'm not even sharing. My bad. This is why sometimes having people on the lives works. This is, let me bring up my eCam screen so that I pay attention. So this is now my yoga magic. And as you can see, going back to Fat Mermaids, like I was very intentional. You see, everything is very nicely branded. Everything goes back to the core messaging. Everything is me. This is my hand and the injury that I was just talking about. Furthermore, this isn't just about my social media. What is the point of me posting on social and getting my views up and getting more people to follow me? Because what did I learn? Follows do not equal shit. Like, it don't matter if I have a million followers. There's plenty of people out there that have millions of followers, millions of views, and aren't making any freaking money. That's not what I'm trying to be. I'm trying to actually make the money, and I'm okay with having only a few thousand followers who are loyal and will buy anything that I say, that is good for them. So it's also about going back and auditing my websites, making sure that all the links work, making sure that this is up to date. I guarantee that if I go all the way down to the bottom, like my copyright and stuff is, yeah, oh, look, it's updated. You know, kind of use good. But like now, I can actually update this. I've always had it down here because I like the view, but I could never get the stupid image to show up. And so now I can actually like have it regular, like the real one. But I don't actually know where I'm teaching yet. So I did at one point do an online course. So that is going to be what we're going to focus on until we can really get the legalities in situations, and making sure that this website is just still on point. Like, does it need to be revived? Is there some HTML that I can like log in here? Is this going to do the job to where I'm at? Do I need to update some of my images? Do I need to do like some new stuff? Do all these things work? Do I want to? So, my free gift, like there's so much that I've created. This no longer really serves me because of the fact that now I have an app. I still have this checklist, which is actually pretty good, but I need to go through and is it updated? Um, this would be a really good thing. Did I actually do it? Apparently not. What about this? Like, so these are all things that I need to go back through. I used to have a Fat Mermaids community. Do I want to have that again? Or do I want to just like let it go and just stay with just having some place? Do people want to have a community? Are there communities that already exist that I just want to like join and have my people join? Like, those are all the questions we're going to ask. For my yoga magic, so this account used to be my personal Instagram account that I converted to my yoga magic. If you go way, way back, you will see it was a hot mess because at because this was used to be my personal one, and I was like talking about life and stuff. So I have one that's specifically for my life where I can follow whoever I want. I can talk about whoever, whatever I want. It doesn't matter because I don't care about the algorithm. I don't care about the follows. I don't care about anything. This one specifically, though, I need to. And it's really a question of, has it gone so far that maybe I need to go back and redo stuff? Do I need to go back in here and maybe archive some of the stuff that doesn't apply, but you can see here, this follows my entire birthing journey as well. Because I got pregnant at 40. How did this become something? I had to stop teaching stand-up paddleboarding when I got pregnant after 3 years of trying. It finally happened. I wasn't, we weren't expecting it, but it was somewhat of a traumatic birthing experience. I had massive pregnancy anxiety. I had postpartum anxiety. I was probably borderline postpartum depression. I had an amazing doula. And so I started using what I had learned as a yoga instructor because I became a prenatal yoga instructor without knowing that I was pregnant. I graduated the day I found out I was pregnant, which was just this weird coincidence. But how much of this is good? How much of this needs to be archived, if any? Do I need to start a new account? Because the algorithmic, I don't know if that's going to affect me. Or do I really care? Do I really care? Do I just want this to be here? The highlights, how much of that do I need to cut down? I need to redo the entire like bio. Um and figure out what I want to focus this on. Okay. Same thing with this one. This is the website. I've changed the brand. It used to be different and I've made it its own. I feel better about this because I really feel love the lotus because it worked with whether it was women or men. It is about this empowerment that you have within you. And a lotus is like the most prettiest flower and it grows in some of the funkiest like conditions. So, plus it has the connection of water because you usually see lotuses in water. So that was the connection. So you're starting to kind of see my thought process and how a lot of this stuff came through. So I have a lead magnet for it. It's a matter of going through and looking through that, making sure that this all makes sense for where I'm at. I did have a podcast that I was using for this. Do I need to change the podcast name? How do we want to move forward with that? All these things, okay? And there I am, my pregnancy journey. I have this. This YouTube thumbnail preview, and so all of these, like these aren't even current. And so maybe I can now, like, before I knew anything about coding and websites and all this, again, I built this way before I knew any of that stuff. I built this just like Anaconda's, like just 2 cents and some massive YouTubing. So I'm super excited because this was like, Anaconda, be proud of yourself. You did this before you really knew how to use AI. Um, and so here we are. Okay, so that is the gist of it. Now I'm using Claude for all of this. And what do we need to do first? We need to basically start from the beginning and have really Claude do the analytics to helping me figure out where I'm at, what do I need to do. Okay, so I need to basically diagnose where we are. And I have a prompt. Okay, it's a little bit long. Hold on, I gotta copy it because I have it on my Google Doc so I don't lose this stuff. So I'm going to do it in this project just so I can keep everything in there. But it's basically, I need to do an honest brand reset for Fat Mermaids. And we're doing one at a time. Why would we do this? Because they're two separate businesses, two separate set of ICPs, two separate brand directions, two separate offers. I don't want it to confuse trying to do both at the same time. The goal is to try to do one and then the other. So I need to do an honest reset. I'm relocating this business from Okinawa, Japan to Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii. Listen to how I am prompting to make sure that it understands all of the necessary information. Everything I built before was for the Okinawa military spouse community and local Japanese market. That's gone. Here's what I need you to think through. Brand voice check. Does my current Fat Mermaid's brand voice still work for the Hawaii market, or does it need to shift? Okinawa was tight knit, small pond, military community. Hawaii is much bigger, more competitive, more diverse market with established stand up paddleboard businesses everywhere. SUP was pretty much birthed in Hawaii. This is where I got certified. I already know one of the pre existing people that have a sub business here in Honolulu. What stays, what evolves? Number two, ICP reality check. My ideal clients, Sophia the Secret, Jasmine the Juggler, and Mia the Mentor, were built for Okinawa contacts. Which part of those profiles still stay true to in Hawaii? What needs updating for the new market? Are there new pain points or desires specific for to women in Hawaii that is missing? What makes me different here in Okinawa? I was the only one doing SUP as a master instructor. In Hawaii, SUP is everywhere. What is the actual differentiator? There were SUP instructors in Japan, but I was the only one that was actually certified and teaching that spoke English. Okay. What does Fat Mermaids offer that the average Oahu sup rental companies don't? Be honest. If my differentiator is weak, tell me. Give me this as a clear diagnosis, not a pep talk. I need to see where we really stand before I start building. Okay, we're going to let it go. Now, if you're new to AI, building with AI, is that Claude is very smart. And I already used my frameworks to create the skills for my brand voice for each of my three businesses that I have. Even before I really was going to do anything like this, I already knew that I had three different businesses. And again, it was this notion of like, yeah, I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back. And then I never really did it. And so this is my attempt to do it. So see, reading Fat Mermaid's brand voice skill. It already has this stuff built in because this was like the beginning basic part of the framework. Now, if you were in the AI Edge Masterclass series, you bought the bundle, you went through Claude 101, you already got the skill to help you create your own personal brand voice skills. Because that was the whole point of that class, that masterclass. And if that's something they're like, I need this, let me know in the comments because I'm actually bringing masterclass 1, 2, 3, and 4, which were the main AI teaching modules, and putting it into like an easier, digestible, quick learning mini course. Okay, so good. I have enough. Let me now build the honest diagnosis. So, Fat Mermaids Hawaii brand reset, honest diagnosis. Number one, my brand voice check. Does it still work? What stays? All of it. Your brand voice is not broken, sassy, warm, fearless. It's actually more rare in Hawaii than it was in Okinawa, not less. The Oahu sup market is dominated by rental companies and surf schools that teach men, women, and children in group lessons with professional instructor ratios, which means the tone out there is overwhelmingly neutral, activity focused, skill focused. Nobody is talking to a woman's soul. Nobody is using the language muffin ear moments or embrace the fall. Nobody is writing like Anna Connie. Okay? I was like, all right. And it even gives me like where it's pulling this information from. What has to evolve? The context assumptions. In Okinawa, your voice landed because it felt like a lifeline in a small, isolated military community. True. Women there had limited options. Your warmth cut through because the market was thin. In Hawaii, women have a lot of options. Your voice will still cut through, but you can no longer rely on scarcity to do the heavy lifting. You need your voice to be louder and your position to be sharper, because the first question a Hawaii woman is going to ask is, why her instead of the Waikiki instructor 5 minutes from me? The answer has to be first 3 seconds of interacting. Sorry, it has to be in the first 3 seconds of interacting with your brand, and that's the show, which is pretty much something that I already kind of knew. ICP, here's a breakdown by profile, honest as I can make it. What does that mean, Claude? All right, Sophia the Seeker needs a significant update. Okinawa Sophia was rebuilding post breakup, craving nature in a small urban apartment. Hawaii Sophia is a different woman. She may be a young professional in Honolulu, a recent transplant, a local woman who grew up surrounded by ocean but somehow never felt like it was for her body type. Her pain point isn't, I've never had access to the ocean. Her pain point is, I live in Hawaii and I still don't feel like I belong on the water. That's actually a richer, more potent wound to speak to. The shame is sharper because the ocean is right there. Lean into that. Her income assumption also needs updating. Hawaii cost of living is extreme. Your 70K salary figure from an Okinawa profile will no longer reflect realistic discretionary spending in local markets. So fair enough. So it goes on to let me know the three. Okay. So now I know that Mia is pretty much the almost exact right for Hawaii. That's my 50 plus woman who wants to prove something to herself and is very real in Oahu. Okay. Jasmine the juggler, the overgiver, nurse, caregiver archetype is universal and translates fully to Hawaii. So I only really need to update one and just change a few like demographics to all three. What makes me different? Okay. This is the part you asked me to be honest about. So here it is. Now, I will preface that as part of the AI responsibility compass that I, really lean into in teaching you guys is that I've set guardrails on all of my language models, not just Claude, to make sure that it understands what I want it to do, how I want it to act, what I want it to tell me, and the main thing it understands is that I do not want it to romanticize any type of relationship. You are my employee. I need you to act as such. Do not romanticize our relationship. You are not my BFF. Do not tell me what you think I want to hear. I need you to give it to me straight with no shooter. Okay. So just keep that in mind. If you want those types of prompting and information, you guys can get that inside of the Facebook group. The link should be in the show notes of this live. All right. Your weakness differentiators. Be warned. Okay. Sup Yoga in Oahu is not rare. Yoga Floats already offers a full menu. Okay. Yoga Floats is the one that I know. I actually know the yoga owner because she's the one who certified me. She's the master subbed up stand up paddleboard instructor who I got certified through. She already teaches gentle flowy classes, sunset yoga, sup yoga, yoga and paddleboard combos, private lessons, and even night glow experiences on stable boards in calm ocean waters. They're listed as one of the top providers on Oahu, and they have brand awareness and they have the location advantage near Honolulu. If you try to compete with them on a format or price, you will lose. Fair enough, Claude. Thank you for that. The Honolulu Sup Market includes multiple operators across Ala Moana, Waikiki, and local beach parks. Now, remember, I was here for 3 years. I made massive connections. I actually know one of the dads to one of the local Ala Moana, Waikiki Sup um, operators, and they're just rentals. Most of them have Google reviews, established rental fleets, and tourist pipelines that you will not have access to right away. Fair enough. Your differentiator is not SUP Yoga. Others have it. Location on Kaneohe Bay. The Paradise Bay Resort already offers SUP rentals as an amenity with complimentary kayaks, snorks, and SUP equipment as part of their resort fee. Beginner friendly lessons, everyone says that. Your real differentiators are these, okay? You are the only body positivity, identity centered SUP brand in the market. Nobody in Hawaii is doing that with Fat Mermaids, what Fat Mermaid stands for. The competitive market is full of activity based brands. None of them are in the business of helping women confront her self worth on a paddleboard. The transformation work from fear to freedom, not just beginner to intermediate, is genuinely unclaimed, and that is your lane. I want you to really understand what this is because that is what building a brand around your values means. And in the age of AI, a lot of people feel like, oh, I'm going to be washed out. I'm not going to be relevant and all this. Well, this is what helps you. Here's your water reminder. Um, this is what makes me me. I am just supercharging it into my businesses so that they know that the extension, am I a little bit introverted, is the persona that I put on when I teach and talk about as fat, my CEO had a Fat Mermaids a little bit out of my realm. Yes, but I still have fun with it. It is the transformation that I take on because that is how powerful I feel when I go stand up paddleboarding. I feel like a badass. That is not faked. That is true. People can feel that. I remember how I felt when I went through my SUP instructor training, when I took my first SUP lesson, when I first did my first SUP yoga lesson. I know like every bit of it because it was so transformative in my own journey. And I've just had the privilege and blessing of being able to be my own ICP for all of my businesses because they were birthed from a transformation that I went through, and I saw nobody was actually teaching it the way I would have wanted to be taught after having the transformation. The transformation was the bonus, realizing that nobody was actually teaching it that way. I just got lucky with the transformation was where I saw the problem. Now, you know the military spouse community from the inside. Kaneohe Bay is home to MCB Hawaii, one of the largest Marine Corps installations in the Pacific. You are a military spouse. You understand isolation, the identity loss. Um, Starting over, nobody else in Oahu submarket is specifically speaking to that woman. This is not a small niche. This is concentrated, underserved, word of mouth driven community who can quickly help me grow. Understood. In a market, your voice in your product, in a market saturated with technical similar offerings, the woman who chooses Fat Mermaids is not choosing a paddleboard lesson. Listen, she's choosing you, your muffin ears moments, your take fear by the nose ring, energy, that experience of feeling fully seen before you even get on the water. That is not replaceable by a rental shop. It is not replaceable by a tourist activity company. That is yours. SUP is a life metaphor, is your framework, not your tagline. Most Oahu SUP businesses teach a skill. You teach a woman how to fall and get back up and then connect that to every area of her life where she's been afraid to stand up. That depth of purpose is rare. It is what turns a customer into a testimonial. It what turns Mia into your most enthusiastic evangelist. Look at this. So then it creates this artifact graphic. So the brand reset diagnosis, so that I can easily see it. I don't like if you're a visual learner, but like, dude, that was a lot of like text. I don't even know where to start. Claude is very good about knowing because it's in what my custom instructions that I'm a visual learner. So it does this a lot, but it knows that I need to have this. Brand voice stays. It needs to be louder and sharper. ICPs need to evolve. My differentiator, um, real, but must be named explicitly. And the market size is much bigger. It's more competitive, more clients. Okay. My ICP update map, it's telling me which one's my biggest opportunity, which one needs update, and which one just needs a little bit of tweaking. Perfect. Differentiator, weak versus real. So it's giving me the two things comparison, giving me the bottom line. Your brand is not the problem. Your ICPs are not broken. They need context updates, not replacements. Your differentiator is genuinely real, but right now it's living in your soul and not yet on your homepage, your Instagram bio, or your first impression. The actual risk is this reset is not that Hawaii is too competitive, is that you're slide into sub instructor positioning because it's easier and you end up competing on a terrain where you will always lose to established operations with bigger fleets. Ready to go into step 2. So instead of that, we're going to go into my second prompt. So this is where it gets more specific. And this is where you would need to know your own zone of genius. So if you're not a zone of genius, if you're not a stand-up paddleboard instructor yet, none of this would actually make sense. Or you wouldn't be able to recreate this prompt, I should say, without really knowing what should really be there because you don't teach. Like, this isn't what you do. And I highly encourage you to never talk to Claude or any large language model about stuff you don't know about, because then if it lies to me, I can tell it and I can say, like, that shit ain't true. What are you doing? Where did you get this from? Um, so to speak. So now I need, this is the second prompt number 2. Now I need the reality check on what is actually going to take, on what it actually takes to operate Fat Mermaids as a legitimate sub instructor business in Hawaii. I was operating in Okinawa, Japan, completely different legal and regulatory environment. Again, pay attention to the prompting. I'm starting from scratch on the business operations side here. Research and walk me through every obstacle and requirement I need to address. Number 1, permits and licensing. What permits do I need to teach SUP commercially on Oahu beaches or waterways? State of Hawaii, city and county of Honolulu, the Department of Land and Natural Resources, harbor permits, what applies, insurance, what level And type of liability insurance do I need for water-based fitness instruction in Hawaii? What about waivers? Are my old ones still valid, or do I need Hawaii specific language? Certifications. I have a sub instructor certification. Do Hawaii waters require any additional certifications, water safety credentials, first aid requirements beyond the standard? Location scouting. I'm based in Kaneohe Bay. What are my realistic options for teaching locations? Kaneohe Bay itself, Kailua Beach, North Shore. Which locations are permit friendly versus restricted for commercial instruction? Equipment and logistics. I need boards, so I don't need boards. PDFs. I do need PDFs. No storage. What does the startup equipment cost look like for a group 6 to 8? And then I'm just going to put in parentheses. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 paddle boards. Oops. And 4 specifically for only Sapiola. Storage options near my locations. That's just so that I know. Military community access. Can I teach on base through MWR? I think it's not MWR. I think it's MCCS. I'm going to just do, CCS. MCBH, Kaneohe Bay. What's the process of becoming an approved MWR vendor or instructor? This could be a major advantage. I'm already on base as a military spouse. Teaching schedule. My son is in preschool. It tells them when. That's my window. What do you see as my potential class schedule? Keep Empower Her Wave and my $1 million year goal in mind. Okay. In case you didn't know, yes, I am trying to make $1 million with Empower Her Wave in the next 12 months. And I need to make sure that when I'm creating this stuff for stand-up paddleboarding, that it understands that I have these other goals that it needs to align with. Okay. So see how it's going through. It's looking for all information on DLNR, Hawaii liability insurance. It's looking up anything for vendor for processing for MCH, Kailua Beach commercial instructions permit from the city of council. Good, I have everything. That shit was quick. Honest checklist. Let me build this out. I asked it for a checklist. Give me a checklist format I can actually work through, flag anything that's a hard blocker, things that I can absolutely skip or work around, because y'all know I gotta be out of here in literally 45 minutes. And so I'm doing this because I need to, but I decided to do this lives because maybe you're in the same situation, or you can see the walkthrough of what I'm asking so that I have a really good strategy before I start creating everything else. And this is for anybody who's a real military spouse who's relocating, okay? Now, this is the last one, and we're going to go straight into the other one. I'm going to start a new chat. So, hard blocker cannot operate without this. Okay, so it's just telling me this is everything in red is a hard blocker. I have to have it. Required, legally required, less urgent. I don't know about that. Stronger practice, action item. Okay, so the things that I have to have. Form an LLC. I already did that. Done. Register for Hawaii General Exercise TAC, a GET. I'm pretty sure that I already have that too. So just so you guys know, I went through a corporation called Prime Corporation to establish both LLCs. Now, just so you guys can really have my thinking process of all of this, because I've really evolved from 2019 when I first started this business in Hawaii. I now know that with Empower Her Wave, I've established 2 LLCs. I intentionally did that because Fat Mermaids is a water sports instruction service-based business, which means my liability for that, because it's a physical class that I teach as a service and it requires water. What are the risks? I mean, people can drown, they can, hurt themselves on the paddleboard, they can hurt themselves going in. you know, all kinds of stuff. Like there's sharks and things in the water, jellyfish, and all kinds. My liability insurance, I was holding a $2 million policy in Okinawa. And so I know that legally it is such a higher risk liability from a business perspective than my Empower Her Wave. The decision was to separate them so that they had different legal entities so that should something happen within my Fat Mermaids, it will not affect necessarily my Empower Her Wave business, income stream, all that kind of stuff. It will stay within whatever I'm making for Empower Her Wave, and that liability insurance just covers that. Okay. So I've already done this hard work, which is good. I didn't give it that. I just wanted to give me what it would so that anybody who's watching this, if you're starting from scratch, you get to see it from beginning to end. And hopefully that like helps you guys. Um, and I have a Hawaii tax ID. So they did everything for me state based. Okay, so permits. Most complex section. Got it. So hard blocker, DLNR, DOBOR, commercial use permit, sub instructor in state waters. This is non negotiable. Hawaii law explicitly states that all persons providing water sports instruction in the state must obtain a commercial use permit from the Division of Boating and Ocean Recreation. This covers sup instruction, sup yoga, any commercial paddling activity. Apply in person at the Oahu District Office, bring completed commercial use questionnaire, proof of insurance naming State of Hawaii as additional insured certifications, and business registrations. Good to know. Hard blocker, Kaneohe Bay ORMA commercial use permit, separate and specific. This is a critical issue for your location. Kaneohe Bay is a designated ocean recreation management area, which is with its own specific commercial permit rules under Hawaii admin rules. The number of permits in Kaneohe Bay is strictly capped by type. Full service, snorkel, tour, sales. Paddleboard falls under commercial ocean recreation equipment. You cannot simply get a general DOBOR permit and operate in Kaneohe Bay. You need an ORMA specific. I'm loving this. These are not roadblocks in my mind. They're just things that I need to get done. DLR Waikiki permits, shore based commercial activity on state beaches. If you stage classes from state public beaches, the beach area itself, not the water, you need a separate DLNR right of entry ROE permit of commercial activity on state land. This is required even for using the beach as a meeting gear staging area. Apply online. Damn. All right. Must submit certification of liability insurance with the application. Required City of County of Honolulu commercial instruction permit for city beach parks. Kailua Beach Park and Kalama Beach are city and county of Honolulu parks. The city has its own commercial instruction permit rules. Rules cap sub class size, prohibit setting up shop, restrict blah blah blah. Okay. Recommended event permit, 30 plus days lead time for workshops and retreats. Any organization sponsored event in state ocean waters requires a separate permit applied for at least 30 days. Okay. Phew. Commercial general liability, minimum 1 million per occurrence, 2 million aggregate required. State of Hawaii must be listed. The coverage carries blah, 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 blah. Your Okinawa policy does not transfer and is not valid in Hawaii. Estimated annual cost 800 to 2,000 a year for a small sub instructor operation. See quote. And it's giving me some places to actually look, which I actually can get from my master stand-up paddleboard instructor. So just keep that in mind when you're being certified. Professional liability, errors omission, instructors covers, claims that you're okay. That's just telling me what I need. Participation waivers needs to be written. I figured that. Equipment. Saltwater environment is brutal on boards. Hawaii humidity and UV acceleration degradation. If your boards are primarily business assets, insure them under a commercial equipment rider, especially relevant for your 4 sub yoga specific boards. Okay. I need CPR. I need my SUP instructor certification, water safety instructor, open water lifeguard certification. Hawaii waters not legally required, but recommended. And that's actually something that I'm going to do. And I'm already 200 yoga certified, which was a recommendation, but I am an ERY, E200 RYT. I'm working on my 500, so I'm covered with that. So Kaneohe Bay must be confirmed first. So here's the thing, there's a lot here. Equipment, it's giving me like, my budget, about what it's going to cost, that I have all of this before I even decide. But like, you know what? This is a lot of money that I don't physically have and not sure that I want to necessarily like work through. Now, this is where I wanted to contact MCCS Hawaii Semperfit directly, who runs Group X fitness classes with contracted external instructions. Sub instruction from MCBH owned pieces access is a neutral fit, which is where I am trying to go. You saw all that other stuff that could be barriers to how I want to do it. Now, MCBH has its own marina at the beach area of Kaneohe Bay. If teaching on base, you may be exempt from civilian DLNR ORMA permit requirements for the activity, federal land. Confirm this with MCCS. And that's the route that I am going. So realistically, 3-hour window, class slots, 8 to 10, 90 minutes, 15-minute setup, 3 classes per week, capacity 6 to 8, $65 to $85 per person. That's that's 11 to $2,000 a week at full capacity. Monthly revenue ceiling with live classes alone between $4,000 to $8,000. This is not your $1 million path from sub instructors alone. SUP is your IRL brand builder. EmpowerHER Wave is where you scale. So plan accordingly. So a realistic is Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays rotate every other. This creates sustainable 3-class minimum week without burning out or leaving room for MCCS class if secured. Pricing floor, do not underprice Hawaii market. Got it. All right. So there I have it. And I'm just going to say create a checklist. So I'm going to actually go back through and voice telling it. Okay, we'll just do it this way. So I'm going to change. I need this to be. Oh, we're going to do Fable for this. Okay, so I already actually have an LLC for Fat Mermaids that I do through Prime Corporate. I have the GET and my EIN. I am a master stand-up paddleboard instructor, meaning that I have the ability to certify other people to be SUP instructors. I am an ERYT, meaning that I have experience 200-hour yoga training. And my main goal is to try to get recontracted to teach on base to avoid all the other things so that I don't have to like have a big budget, because I don't. So moving forward, I need a really detailed list of all the things that I need to still make sure I have with what I've already told you that I have in place. I have a meeting to meet with Small Business Administration in Honolulu at the end of the month to verify that I have all the legal entities stuff. But I have already made contact with MCCS Hawaii Semperfit, and they are going to do the negotiations with the marina to try to offer actual SUP yoga as a base class. It would be contracted for the SUP yoga, and then they will actually have me just join their regular Semperfit classes to teach active duty yoga, which is another separate business. So moving forward, I just need a detailed sheet that I'm not going to get distracted, and a game plan of what I need to move forward, a realistic timeline with some due dates that are realistic for me so that I'm not consuming all of my 9 hours of work time just on establishing Fat Mermaids, especially with all of the things that could consume time without actually bringing in income. income. I also have an online SEP course, and I would like you to analyze my website. Oh, I want the home page. Okay, on what stays, what needs improvement, and how should I proceed with my online course. And my app, which is in base 44. Now I'm going to give it the URL to my app. Now, what I did was I used some of my AI stuff to create an app of what I would have wanted to help me with preparing for stand-up paddleboard classes. It also, so I'm going to show you the app in a second. Things that you should consider. Like, had I not put this together, like I wouldn't have this asset. And these are the things that you can use AI to really make you stand out. Okay. So I'm going to show you the app just so you have the full picture of everything. I have an online course. It is not a replacement for a SUP yoga class. It is a companion. I wanted people to be able to still have me empowering them, encouraging them, all the things. Uh-oh. Okay, we'll do it this way. So this is what the app looks like. It has my dashboard. It has a pre-paddle prep for anybody. This could be somebody who's a solo paddler, meaning just a regular civilian or a regular student. And it also has instructor mode. So as an instructor, I have my checklist of all the things that I need to have, because how many times have I got to a class and been like, ah, I forgot this or I forgot that. A safety report. So now I can look up Hawaii, or I could look up Oahu. Oh, Hawaii, and get my safety intel. And then I have my pep talk. So this was made for what? The instructors that I was certifying, because sometimes the ocean risk management talk can be a little bit daunting. And this thing is good that I'm having this problem because, oh, not that. Um, oh, 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 oh. Okay. So anyways, it has a session log. They can learn more stuff. This is the course that I've created. Okay. So I've already done a lot of the work. I have a community. I started in school, but I think I'm going to go back to the YouTube, to Facebook, but we'll see. I even have the ability to do it through my own stuff, which that might be an option. The flow plan was like a big thing for me because there's a lot of people that were drowning that weren't telling people where they were. And a float plan is really a big part of where I create stuff so that my husband knows where I'm at, because I commonly was paddling by myself while I was in Okinawa. It has challenges. I gamified it, y'all. There's a lesson planner for the instructors. There's a marketing assistance for them. So these are all instructor things that they get. And then these are all the resources that they also get. So it was really, really robust. And so what I'm going to do is be like, all right, let's not pump the brakes so much just because I don't have all the pieces for some of this other stuff. What can we do to still continue momentum based on what I've already built? Okay. So while it does that, I'm literally just doing the same exact thing in Claude in a new chat, but for what? My yoga magic. Same exact, pretty much process. Okay. So this is now a couple things. I put it inside of a project. Okay, so I'm going to show you my screen. I'm almost done in case you guys are wondering. If you guys have any questions, just drop it in. Let me look at my eCam. Thank you for sharing behind the scenes. Oh, hey, Karen. What's this video about? It's about starting your business from scratch. I don't know if you're still there, but hey, Karen. I don't know. Oh, look, I can add you to my thing. What? Hey, Karen. I'm gonna make this one smaller on here. Okay. And again, this is now for my yoga magic. So my yoga magic, pre and postnatal yoga. Okay. BIP Fat Mermaids in my yoga magic. So this, I'm going to add actual Claude instructions. I just did this kind of on the fly so that I had one project that would have the memory of all of these chats so that it understood. I will be adding my brand voice, but remember, I've already built the skills in Claude. So I really don't need to do that, but I might just need to be adding some of the assets that it's building, some of the things so that it's in the memory and it doesn't have to go through the chats. Understand? Hopefully that does. So I can continue the conversation just like this chat. Same honest reset. Now, my yoga magic, I'm relocating this business from Okinawa, Japan to Kaneohe Bay. I'm starting in new chat, but inside of the project. So while it's listening, it already understood all the stuff that it gave me for my other stuff. Okay. The difference that I'm going to do this time, just to see if we get something different, is I am going to give it my Instagram handle and I'm going to give it my website to my yoga magic so that it brings it in, even though it already has the brand voice. Okay. So this is just something else that you can think about doing if you already have it in place. In Okinawa, I taught yoga to military spouses and the local community. My specialty areas are prenatal yoga, postnatal yoga, baby and me yoga, toddler and me yoga, and trauma-informed yoga for active duty service members. I also have a background in healthcare, which informs how I approach the body. Here's what I need: a brand voice check, just like the other one. My yoga magic has two distinct voices: warm and embodied for pre and postnatal community, and direct and evidence based for military community. They don't want woo woo. They want to know, like, how does this help me? Do I really need this? Absolutely yes. And I have to talk to them in a very different way. I cuss in that class. I do not cuss necessarily in the pre and postnatal. That one ends up being just a lot of listening, quiet, and sometimes we cry together. Like totally different classes. Okay. I also have a let's see. Does that dual voice approach still work in Hawaii, or does the bigger market require me to pick a lane? What needs to evolve? You guys know I am neurodivergent. I know I have ADHD. If I'm on the spectrum at any other level, I have no idea. It would not surprise me though. Only because I actually had to take the test for my son to see if he was, and I was like, no, I did like he's like answered no to all of them. He scored a 0. I was like, however, I answered them for myself and I scored really high. But needless to say, I'm also multi-passionate, as you can tell. So for it to tell me to give up one of those two is going to just be a stab to my heart. But I know that I am filtering all of these decisions on the fact that I still have EmpowerHER Wave and I cannot lose track that I want to make a 7-figure business in 12 months. If it does not serve that, it's not going to help at some point, then I need to make some hard decisions. I haven't been, and this is the whole point of this. So understand that you need to look at your bigger picture. What kind of life are you building towards? What do you want to have in your business? If this is a side project, to make sure that you are putting guardrails for yourself, that you are not going to get sidetracked and have this be your shiny object syndrome and ruin all the hard work that you've been doing in your main hustle. Okay. Reality check. my ICPs. So it's telling them the same thing. These are all the ones: growing grace, postnatal matrescence, empower her mama to be prenatal and active duty service member. How do these profiles shift from for Hawaii? Military population at MCBH is significant. The pre and postnatal market in Hawaii has different demographics than in Okinawa. What am I missing? What makes me different here? Okay. Hawaii has no shortage of yoga teachers. What is my actual edge? Is this a specialization in pre and post? Is it specialization in pre and postnatal? The military trauma informed work, the healthcare background, the combination help me see the positioning clearly against what already exists in the market. The hard question: should I offer all of these services or should I focus on one or two to start? Prenatal, postnatal, baby yoga, toddler yoga, military yoga is a lot of different audiences. What's the smartest entry point for a brand that's essentially restarting? Diagnose, not cheerleading. Where do I actually stand? I am not going to give it anything else. Why? Because it already has a brand voice built based on my old business in Claude. Once I create this, 1000%, so while you're watching this, so it's reading my brand voice skill. I've already, like I told you, I've already created it. That's what I love about Claude. In ChatGPT, I would have to give it which custom GPT I would need to have it pool, and I would be doing one at a time. Claude is genius in this zone of geniusness where it doesn't need me to tell it what skill it needs to pull from. It already does that for me. It's looking, I had a separate ICP skill. I had one specifically for my brand voice. Now it's looking at all of the yoga studios that offer the same thing. It's now looking at the demographics on base. It's now looking at trauma informed yoga in Hawaii and wellness programs. Good. That was quick. I mean, I can't even explain anything to you guys, but learn with AI Varo. I don't know if this is your lane, but this is how I'm using AI to build a women wellness business, basically restarting from scratch. Hopefully that answered that question, sir. This is from, I'm loving being able to add this. You guys, I haven't gone live and had actually comments, so thank you. Let's see. Brand voice. Does the dual voice still work? The dual voice approach is actually competitive edge in Hawaii. The postnatal community and military community don't overlap. Keep the distinction sharp. What needs to evolve in Okinawa? Military spouse. What are your primary access point to both communities? In Hawaii, those audiences have different entry channels. Your pre and postnatal clients in Kaneohe will be a broader mix: Native Hawaiians, Filipinos, Japanese families, alongside military wives. The warm and embodied voice holds, but your visuals and language should reflect that diversity, or you'll read as a military spouse bubble. Got it. The bigger voice shift for Hawaii: the civilian prenatal market here is larger and more connected to local wellness culture. Matrescence will resonate. Sacred space language will too, but you'll need to have integrated language that doesn't feel imported from the mainland. Hawaiian concepts of malama, to care for or to protect. Damn, Claude, okay. And the body as something worthy or tending, not just performing, align with your brand. Worth weaving in intentionally, not as an appropriation, but acknowledgement of where you are, which is something that I actually really do believe in. I'm Mexican. My family has Aztec like heritage. And so having that relationship with like the environment, Hawaii is really big in the culture and how they treat women and all of that. So I can definitely be able to interweave that because I was living here for 3 years before I left. So number two, ICP reality check for Hawaii. So still the most accessible client in Hawaii, but it's giving me the shift. Empowered mama to be, stronger community here than Okinawa. It's a bigger pool. Hawaii has a most robust independent birth community, midwives, doulas, birth centers. You can plug into that for referral work. Beautiful power partners. I did not have that because the ones that were out there in the civilian side in Okinawa only spoke Japanese and I did not. Active duty service MCBH has 25,000 Marine sailors and family members and civilian employees. The deployment cycle here is real and consistent. You will not get access to service members through a yoga studio sign. Access in the community happens through unit wellness programs, command endorsements behavior, which I already know because I was contracted with MCCS. What you're missing about Hawaii's prenatal market, Filipino, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander mamas are significant population in Honolulu County, and they are underserved by the white wellness aesthetic that dominates most yoga brands. If your visuals and language reflect only one kind of pregnant woman, you will be visible to a large market. And this isn't political, it's strategic. Facts. That's actually one of the reasons that I really built my yoga magic, not only because there wasn't enough postpartum support for women over 35 who are considered geriatric, which just blew my mind, but that there's no postpartum support and it's predominantly white centered. There's not a lot of support or language or um like, no offense, but there's different ethnicity risks for pregnancy and postpartum with every ethnicity. And so for me, it was really bringing in those image aesthetics of Latinas, of BIPOC women, of other cultures, even the Japanese women, so that we could all be seen cohesively and united in all of my marketing, which is one of the things. If it wasn't me, I was like, I'm 40 and I'm Latina. I serve like two different aesthetics there. So your edge in order. The windward side gap. There is no dedicated pre and postnatal yoga provider between Kailua and Kaneohe. Shit, that's pretty big. You are not competing with Honolulu Studios. Hell no, that's like a 45-minute drive. You are filling a geographic and specific speciality gap. Healthcare background plus specialization combination. Other prenatal yoga teachers have one or the other. You have both. That's clinically credible. Trauma informed yoga for military. So I already know that the only way I'm going to teach that is to getting recontracted through MCCS. I've already made contact with the director. All he's waiting for is for my updated resume and a proposal for not just my yoga classes but as well as my stand-up paddleboard so he can go to the marina for me. What to actually launch? Offering all five at once while rebuilding your audience, reputation, and community from zero is how you exhaust yourself and confuse everyone about what you do. Hawaii is not Okinawa. You don't have a built in military spouse network feeding your clients on day one. You're starting over. Okay. So lead with prenatal yoga. It's the biggest geographic gaps. It's telling me why. Add postnatal and baby as a natural continuation. Don't market these as separate offers at launch. Market is what comes next. Okay. Makes sense. And then military work. Build quietly through relationships, not marketing. Don't advertise trauma informed yoga publicly as your launch offer. And that's what I'm going to basically do. That is going to be something that basically MCCS will do because they are actually focusing on trying to get more people to teach different pillars within their fitness industry. Toddler yoga, hold for 6 months. I'll teach it from home. All right. So, okay, here's the straight diagnosis. It's giving me all the stuff. And then I just have one last prompt because I need the same stuff. I need the legal entities. There are some things that I just don't know what I'm facing up with regards to teaching yoga off base. I didn't make um hold on. I didn't make I didn't become a certified yoga instructor until I left Hawaii. So I never had to actually go through to see what I needed to do to be able to teach. I might not even need to do nothing. So here's the last piece of this while it's creating this. I gave it a little bit to the other one. Okay. And I have all this stuff from the Fat Mermaids. Let's see what it gave me for my checklist. There it is right there. And so I'm be like, perfect. Please add that checklist to my BIP headquarters in Notion. I do everything in Notion. It is my backup. This right here is more of an artifact. I could download the file and put it in something, but it's HTML. So it's basically code. And that doesn't help me. I need it in either an MD file or I need it to just go ahead and put it into a Google Drive or to Notion. When it's formatted like this, it is best to do it in Notion because it keeps some of the formatting and it just transfers so much more beautifully. And it is my backup. What if Claude goes down? What if I lose all my shit? Hello? What do you mean there's no audio? You can't hear me? Oh no. I hope I did not just go live for like 45 minutes and y'all can't hear me. Hold on. Learn with AI. For real, you can't hear me? Mm-mm. Hold on. You guys, there is no audio. What the hell? But I see it here. How come you guys can't hear me? Wait a minute. Hello? Hello? Okay. Okay. You guys can't hear me. I don't know what you're talking about, dude. Okay, so I'm showing you guys stuff. So the Notion, it's here, just so you guys can see it in my Notion doc. We talked about this as part of the AI Edge Masterclass when we were talking about how to like update yourself. Now, I don't necessarily love Notion. Um, I am getting better at liking it, but you see here, it kind of kept some of the, at least I can check mark it. I have a better thing. It even gave me who to contact. That's amazing. I mean, I already had those contacts, but still. This is the same thing. It's giving me the same stuff for, it's almost done. It looks like, I'm like, great. Can you please transfer this checklist and anything else I need into my BIP Notion headquarters page or doc? Okay. What I'm going to do now is go back to the main project and add this prompt. Last one. I have a $1 million annual revenue goal. EmpowerHER Wave is my primary business. It's my digital brand that sells SaaS, Alchemized OS, coaching, courses, and a GHL website built the main revenue engine and it stays the priority. But I'm also reviving Fat Mermaids, My Yoga Magic. Both are currently dormant. Both need investment of time, money, and energy to restart. I cannot give both equal attention. I need to know which one gets priority. I needed it to do all that stuff beforehand so that it had all the information that I need to basically reflect on before giving me this information. Had I just given it this information, it would not have been as complete. Help me think through this as a revenue and strategic decision. Number one, look again how I'm prompting you guys. I am telling it the backstory. A lot of people are assuming that AI is like a mind reader. It is not. You still have to give it context. Now, granted, I'm working within my own Claude. I've been working with Claude for a while. It has all my brand voices. It knows a lot of my Empower Her Wave business itself, but I still need to give it some context and not just assume that it understood all of that. I'm still reiterating it, even though it's in the same project, so that it understands the thought process of like, this is the hat I need you to put on. This is the information I need you to have foresighted. Okay. Help me to think through this as so that it understands its role. And then I'm giving it specific ways of how I want the output to be. Number one, potential revenue comparison. For each brand, what's the realistic revenue ceiling in 1 year in Hawaii? Factor in class pricing for local marketing, realistic class sizes, my time constraints, Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings only. Seasonal demand in Hawaii because we have high wave season. There's times where I'm not going to be on the water. And then what? So then should that not be it, even though I could charge more for those classes? And the startup costs we just identified. Number two, speed to revenue. Which brand can generate its first dollar faster? Factor in the permit, legal, insurance requirements we just mapped. Which one has fewer blocks between here and the open for business? Strategic value number three for EmpowerHER Wave. Here's the layer most people miss. Both of these brands are also content for EmpowerHER Wave. When I use the alchemized content method on my own brands, I'm proving my framework works. When I build their websites in GHL, I'm creating portfolio pieces for my own businesses. I'm becoming my own case study. When I document the revival, I'm creating my most powerful sales content. So, which brand creates more strategic value as a building in public case study? Lifestyle fit. I'm a military spouse with a toddler. I am telling it now things that it needs to know in consideration of me. Preschool, 3 mornings a week. I'm also a CFTAC. That's not right. A FRICTA. F frick FR O FRICTA. Frick frick oh FRICTA. Family Readiness Command Team Advisor, Sergeant Major Spouse for Mouse 24. Which brands fits my actual life better right now, not in theory or in practice? And the recommendation based on all of this, which brand should be the priority number one? What does that mean, priority in practice? Like, what's the actual time split? 70-30, 80-20, and the 90-day action sequence for each. Don't be diplomatic. Give me a clear answer with clear reasoning. I'd rather hear park brand X for 6 months than wishy-washy. Do both equally. Okay, I'm reinforcing what I've already given it as instructions on how I wanted to talk to me. Now, Karen, if you're still watching, girl, you probably would love this. How much time did it take you to learn this? 3 years? 3 years ago, I started investing in coaching. Like, I didn't think, I thought I could just coach myself. Like, I can learn all this shit on YouTube. But I got desperate, I had to actually borrow $100 from my husband for my first coaching investment, and I haven't looked back since. I've since then invested more than $15,000 in coaches who are already doing it, who are making millions of dollars, and I'm basically just taking what works for me and making it my own. The AI stuff, that's, well, AI, I've been learning AI for like the last 3 years. Um, Karen, because we're in the same circles, but the prompting, if you do nothing else, spend some time learning some proper prompting, y'all. And Claude changed the game. You guys know my story. I was primarily um a ChatGPT user, but ChatGPT is not making the best decisions. They don't align with my values. And so, peace and chicken, I'm using my buying power to support the language models that are at least trying to support the things that I'm, passionate about. But I appreciate you learn with AI, Varro, for sticking out. It's been an hour and 28 minutes. I got to go. Hopefully, this gives this what I need. And so, what I would love to know, was this helpful? And if so, there's one more prompt that I have to give it, and I might have to come back and read it when I get home. I'm going to put it in here while we're waiting for this because I can't let it go until after it renders. But based on everything we just mapped out, the brand diagnosis, the obstacle audits, and the revenue decision, build me a 90-day action plan for both brands. Structure is month one, June and July. What I'm doing now, the non-negotiables, the legals, all the stuff that has to be in place before anything else happens, which applications to file, which calls to make, what content I'm creating about the process for building in public, and then month two, July, August, what I'm building, the operational setup, location lock, my first test class or soft soft launch plan, the Empower Her Wave content that documents all of this. Because again, what is my ultimate goal? My $1 million business in a year. Where is that coming from? Not from my yoga, magic, or fat mermaids. I'm strategically reviving these because it's going to prove that my method works, that my frameworks work, so that when I officially launch this stuff through Empower Her Wave, I actually have like, I don't need to show you anybody else's. I'm about to show you how it worked for me. And so by doing this live, I'm not like cocky about it. I know that it works because I've been using it in the background. I just stopped. And so I'm just like, I have the time. This is the first time I've had 3 hours at home within my own setup with my dual monitors and everything. And so this has only been what, our first full week of kindergarten. And that's why this is happening now, because I didn't force it. I waited for the season to happen for me. I am tired of just apologizing and feeling like shit when I don't have the time to keep up with everybody else. I have to be realistic and I have to make sure that my values and my priorities stay first. I stopped spending as much time with my 4-year-old. I stopped spending as much time with my husband, and I could see the consequences to those relationships. And that was something that I was not willing to further damage by continuing to beast mode it when I wasn't in that position to do so. Okay. So everything that I'm doing, including this video and showing you how I'm starting, is strategic. So when you're thinking about how much you want to make, you need to think about a bigger picture. And that's why it was a no-brainer for me to do this and spend some time instead of just focusing all on Empower Her Wave, so that you guys could actually see. My ICP are women wellness entrepreneurs. If I inspire men, if I inspire other people who are not in the wellness industry, high five to myself. I'm glad that it's working and that it's resonating and that you're learning and you're putting it into your own frameworks, your own niche, whatever. But primarily, other yoga instructors, other birth workers, other stand up paddleboard instructors, or water sports instructors are not getting this level of this is how we do it. We're basically Frankensteining method. Everybody else is coaching and trying to fit it up to what works for us, and it doesn't. We are service based. There's very little that we can do that is online, but I've cracked some of the code. Clearly, I've made an app for my paddleboard business. I created a online course because there were people that were like, "Gosh, I wish I could take your stand-up paddleboard class, but you're all the way in Japan and I'm all the way in Jersey," or wherever they were. And I'm like, that shouldn't stop them from being able to experience the power of having a sub lesson with me, because it's not the physical, it's the mental. So how can I bring that to life? I used AI. AI helped me create the concept. I had a coach that kind of was like, got me through my mental barriers of like, this isn't going to work. And I made it happen. So this is going to take a while, but you guys see my last prompt so that I don't have to stay here with you guys on the live. And it's telling me basically for each month, give me no more than 5 priorities. I have ADHD. If you know, if I get shiny object syndrome, like I'll be like, oh, if I don't have a checklist, I'm not productive. I work in top 3 per day mode. So if the monthly list is longer than 5 things, it won't get it done. See, I should have just kept reading instead of talking to you guys. Also, flag, what can I delegate or outsource versus what requires me personally? I have Claude, I have Cowork, I have High Level. What pieces of this can AI handle and what needs human? Make it real, make it doable, and make it fit inside my preschool hours. 9 hours. That's all I got, you guys, to make $1 million empire. And I 1000% believe that I can do it. So I've enjoyed this thoroughly. Karen, I don't know if you're still on, girl, but thank you. Learn with AI Borrow. I appreciate you. This was a long live. This was going to be the longest out of all of them because you can see I had to do this for both businesses. I thought about maybe just doing it for one, but I'm glad you guys got to see the full thing for all of them. And this should have already rendered it in Notion for me. Again, why Notion instead of Google Drive, I went back and forth, but I did a whole training on it on why you should go into Notion instead of Google Drive for this type of stuff. It is much easier for more language models to be able to get briefed through my Notion than it was for my Google. Plus, when Claude was creating certain artifacts, certain documents, they just translated better. It was almost like when I would look at it in Google Drive, the formatting would be all funky and I would spend more time and waste my time. So again, thinking about what's $7 that you $7 an hour task that you're wasting your $1,000 an hour time with. And I was like, this is I should not be I should not be sitting here fixing for 30 minutes a freaking document that AI just created that I shouldn't have needed to do this. This is clean, this is beautiful. The checklist is there, all of the other information, and it's sitting here in my content alchemy engine. Oh, that is not where it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be in my building in public. So I have all of this. It understands the context. So literally, I'd be like, go into my VIP Notion doc, you know, get yourself up. And this is the Fat Mermaids one. I need to go find where the heck it put the other one and then just basically bring it here instead. So here it goes. Good. I have everything from building in public series. You've done the research on permits, insurance. What did I tell you? That's why we did that first. Let me give you the complete decision dashboard that then reflects everything down. So priority number 1, my yoga magic. Launch it in 30 days. Fat Mermaid Parks for 12 months. This is not close. Damn. Okay. That is not what I thought it was going to do. And I'm going to look this over. I'm not going to just base it off of what Claude says, but I am going to take this into high consideration. And it's telling me what my yoga magic, like how much money it thinks I can make. And again, I'm not going to take this as the all say. I am going to give it a pushback because I'm like, did you look at this? Did you actually look at all the lead magnets and stuff? I don't want to spend more than 3 to 4 hours a week on either of these businesses physically teaching. So let's look at this again. Make sure that it really understood that I already have contact information for the contracts. But theoretically, this makes probably the more sense. Why? Because I'm going to just give it the last thing, let it go and see what it gives me, but it's giving me a very detailed document. And so here's my like final closeout. Never just take what Claude gives you or any language model. You still need to go and do your research. I could 1000% have it help me make a business plan proposal based on what it gave me, take it to my SBA meeting in a few weeks so that I can really find out this is what I have planned. Tell me if this makes sense. I already know it takes about 6 to 10 months to get contracted with MCCS because you got to go through all this stuff. It has to go to headquarters. Adding in SUP yoga is going to be maybe even longer. I don't know what the permit side is because it's on base, and on base is kind of has its own like its own little town. So I got to go. My kids coming out of daycare. And so I hope this was really helpful. Out of all the series in this BIP, this is going to be the longest because the rest of them are like, this is the decisions that I made. These are the things that I've done. I'm going to be adding some of those day to days in the story so that you guys can see, like, today I decided to spend this amount of time doing these things to get this stuff checked off. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the live. And if you really are like, can I get some of these prompts? I am 1000% willing to dumb these down so that they're more generic and then you take them and make them your own. If that's something that you guys would love to have, I'm happy to make that happen, but I'm not going to do it unless you guys tell me in the comments. So, anyways, as always, continue to be you, continue to be beautiful, continue leading from your heart. If you're watching this and you happen to be in Kaneohe or on Oahu and you have military base access, June 18th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., I'm teaching a free AI 101 class. You can let me know if you need the contact information, but there's a Facebook event. It's free, and this is the magic that I'm bringing. It's going to be a crazy, crazy, amazing class. I hope you can attend, and I'll catch you in another video. Oh, like, subscribe, and follow if you like this so that you can see what happens in the next 6 months and how much I make, how much I don't, what I end up deciding on, all the things. I'm going to be doing the lives to keep you caught up on the process. Thank you for watching.